According to the 2025 Canine Health and Nutrition Survey from the University of Georgia, 86% of dog owners are unknowingly shaving years off their dog's life every single day. Not through neglect, not with toxic food, but through something as innocent as scooping kibble into a bowl, something you probably did this morning. What if your dog's daily feeding routine is silently damaging their health from the inside, and you won't know until it's too late? I've spent months combing through clinical trials and speaking to top veterinary nutritionists, and what I found truly shocked me. And trust me, mistake number 9 has already come dangerously close to costing countless dogs their lives. Number 1. Feeding only once a day. It sounds efficient, routine, maybe even traditional. You wake up, fill the bowl, and that's it. No fuss, no mess. But inside your dog's body, something very different is happening. For 18 hours or more, acid churns in an empty stomach like a storm waiting to break. That acid, without anything to digest, doesn't just sit there, it starts eroding the stomach lining like rust eating through steel. You won't notice it at first. Maybe just a little grass eating, a few floor-licking habits. But one day, that acid can flip into a full-blown emergency. Veterinarians have a name for it: gastric dilatation volvulus, GDV. It's a stomach twisted in on itself like a wet towel wrung too tight. It can kill a dog in hours. And guess what? One of the major risk factors is long fasting periods followed by activity. You might think you're doing your dog a favor by keeping it simple. But ask yourself, does simple mean safe? The Dog Aging Project studied over 10,000 dogs and found something fascinating. Dogs fed once daily had slightly better cognitive scores, but only under very specific conditions like low activity and consistent rest cycles. For working breeds, senior dogs, or pups with even moderate energy, one meal isn't enough. Their system needs steady fuel, not starvation. Imagine a campfire. It burns steady when you feed it, kindling throughout the day. But let it go cold and try to relight it. It struggles. That's your dog's metabolism. And every skipped meal is like letting the fire go out. So if your dog's only eating once a day, it's time to rethink. Split their food. Morning and evening. Same amount. Better rhythm. And just like that, you've already added months, maybe years, to their life. Now, let's talk about what that bowl you're using is actually doing to their brain. Number 2. The bowl. Just a plain metal or plastic dish sitting in the corner of your kitchen. Reliable, clean, routine. But here's the question. No one's asking, what's that bowl really doing to your dog's brain? Picture this. In the wild, a dog's ancestors spent hours every day hunting, sniffing, problem-solving, working for every bite of food. Their meals were missions, mental workouts that sharpened their instincts and kept their minds alive. Now imagine all of that replaced by a 30-second scoop and swallow. Every day. Same place, same routine, same nothingness. That quiet little bowl, it might be killing more than just boredom. Studies from Yale's Canine Cognition Lab show dogs without feeding enrichment have elevated cortisol levels, the same hormone linked to stress and depression. Their brains stop firing. Their behavior shifts. They become anxious, destructive, even withdrawn. And you wonder, why is my dog acting off lately? Could it be the bowl? You wouldn't ask a retired firefighter to sit in silence all day after years of adrenaline and purpose. So why ask your dog to stare at a wall while food drops into a dish? There's a better way. Scatter kibble in the yard. Hide it inside a towel. Use a puzzle feeder that makes them think solve work. Give them back the hunt, even if it's just for breakfast. Your dog doesn't need ease, they need engagement. Because a tired body sleeps, but a tired mind, that's peace. And speaking of peace, what if that extra scoop you're adding just to be nice is doing the opposite? Let's talk about that. Next. Number 3. Overfeeding without even realizing it. You scoop the food, maybe add a little extra, just a touch more, because they looked hungry, or because that tail wag made you feel like a hero. It feels like love, doesn't it? That extra scoop, that full bowl. But here's the truth. Sometimes, love wears the wrong uniform. Think about this. If your dog is 20 pounds overweight, that's not like you gaining 20 pounds. That's like strapping a full backpack to their back every hour of every day. Their joints feel it. Their heart works harder. Their lungs strain. Their years shrink. The Association for Pet Obesity Prevention found that nearly 60% of American dogs are overweight. That's not an epidemic. That's a silent padded cage we're building one scoop at a time. And here's the part no one talks about. Most owners don't even know it's happening. Because weight gain in dogs is slow. It hides in the chest, the neck, the belly, until one day they can't jump into the truck anymore. Until the stairs become a battle. Until the vet starts talking about insulin. So here's the question. Are you feeding with your heart or with your head? Grab a measuring cup. Know your dog's weight. Adjust slowly, like tuning an old radio, until the station comes in clear. Because your dog doesn't need more food. They need more years. And if you think you're being generous, now wait until you see what exercise right after dinner could really cost them. Number 4. Walking your dog right after a meal. It sounds wholesome, even responsible. You feed them, leash them up, take a stroll. Maybe it's your morning ritual. Maybe it's how you two bond. But inside their body, it's not bonding. It's a brewing storm. Imagine shaking a soda can, then opening it. That's what's happening in your dog's stomach when they eat and then move. Their belly fills with food and gas. If they twist wrong or leap too soon, the stomach can flip, literally. It's called GDV, gastric dilatation volvulus. And it doesn't give you a second chance. You might notice the signs too late. A bit of pacing. A failed attempt to vomit. A little drooling. But when that stomach twists, blood supply cuts off. The clock starts. 2 hours, maybe less. And the emergency vet may not even be close. Purdue's vet school found that one of the top triggers for GDV is exercise after meals, especially in larger breeds. But it can happen to any dog. A beagle, a mutt, yours. So ask yourself, are those few minutes saved worth the risk? Walk first, feed second. Or if dinner comes first, let them rest. Let them settle. Let the engine cool before you take it out on the road again. Because peace isn't just in the moment. It's in knowing you gave their body the rhythm it needs to stay alive. Now flip that bag of food over. Have you ever really looked at the ingredients you're pouring into their bowl? You might want to. Let's go there. Next. Number 5. Ignoring the label. That bag of dog food sitting in the pantry. It's more than just branding and buzzwords. It's a recipe. And if you've never flipped it over and read the fine print, you're not feeding, you're guessing. Start with the first 5 ingredients. That's the heart of the meal. If you see corn wheat or the word byproduct, you're not giving them real food. You're giving them filler, empty gas. It's like putting watered-down fuel in a race car and expecting it to run like it used to. And those preservatives hiding in small print BHA, BHT. They sound like harmless acronyms, but they've been banned in human food in parts of Europe due to links with cancer. Tufts and UC Davis have both sounded the alarm on how common these additives are in commercial dog food and how rarely owners notice. Think of your dog's food like their medicine. You wouldn't take a pill without knowing what's inside it. So why let your dog eat from a bag whose ingredients you can't even pronounce? Look for real protein chicken, turkey, salmon. Not poultry meal or animal digest. You want names, not mysteries. Whole food. Clean fats. No red dye. No fake flavor. Because your dog doesn't care about the packaging. They care about what you put in their bowl. And when their joints start aching too early, or their coat loses that shine, it's not age. It might be what's been sneaking in every day. But here's the twist. Even if you buy the best food, money can get. What happens if you never change it? Same formula year after year. That's our next problem, and it's a big one. Number 6. Feeding the same food from puppyhood to old age. It feels safe, doesn't it? If it's not broken, don't fix it. That bag has always worked. They've always licked the bowl clean. But here's the truth. No one tells you. Dogs change. And when their body changes, their fuel needs to follow. A 6-month-old pup is a machine in overdrive, building muscle, stretching bone, developing like wildfire. They need high protein, higher calcium, more calories per pound than you'd imagine. But fast forward a few years. That same formula turns from fuel to burden. What once built bone now pads fat. What once gave energy now feeds inflammation. You wouldn't give a toddler the diet of a marathon runner. And you wouldn't feed a retired vet the same meal plan as a 20-year-old soldier. Why do it with your dog? The Journal of Veterinary Medicine showed that dogs fed according to their life stage, puppy, adult, senior lived significantly longer and had fewer chronic conditions. Why? Because their bodies weren't forced to digest what they didn't need. The food served them, not stressed them. But most owners miss the signs. Slower walks, extra naps, a little weight around the middle. We chalk it up to age, but sometimes it's just the wrong recipe for the chapter they're in. So look at your dog today. Not last year. Not the puppy they used to be. What do they need now? And here's the bigger question. What if the very food you trust has been stripped of nutrients before it even hits the bowl? What if it looks complete, but isn't? Stick with me. We're just getting started. Number 7. Thinking Kibble is complete. That crunchy little scoop sealed in a bright bag, stamped with words like balanced and complete. It looks like enough. It smells like enough. But what if it's only half the story? Imagine cooking your dinner at 400 degrees for hours, sealing it in plastic, and eating it 6 months later. Every night. For years. That's what processed kibble really is. And during that high-heat process, up to 60% of delicate vitamins, like A, E, and omega-3s, are destroyed. What's left is shelf-stable. But is it life-stable? The Journal of Animal Physiology found that extreme heat in pet food production doesn't just reduce nutrients, it creates advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds have been linked to inflammation, organ stress, and faster aging. You may not see it today, but 5 years from now, it shows. Now, here's the good news. Purdue University ran a 10-year study and found that dogs who ate fresh vegetables just 3 times a week had a 90% lower risk of developing certain cancers. Not a miracle. Just real food. Just a little color in the bowl. Think green beans, carrots, blueberries, lean meats gently cooked. You're not replacing kibble. You're upgrading it like turning an MRE into a home-cooked meal. Balanced, thoughtful, alive. And yes, it takes 5 extra minutes. But isn't that worth 5 extra years? But what happens if that food, fresh or dry, is left out all day long? You might think you're being kind. You might think they'll eat when they're ready. But what you're really building is a trap. Let's talk about that next. Number 8. leaving food out all day. Maybe it feels generous. Maybe it's easier. You think she'll eat when she's hungry, and that full bowl becomes part of the furniture. A comfort. A routine. But what if I told you that same bowl sitting there hour after hour is quietly unraveling everything her body's trying to protect? Dogs aren't grazers. They're not cows. Their systems were built for rhythm hunt, eat, rest. But when food is always available, insulin stays high, digestion never rests, and the body slips into constant storage mode. Fat piles on quietly. Hormones get out of tune, and over time the damage settles in places you can't see: pancreas, kidneys, metabolism. The University of Copenhagen studied over 1,500 dogs and found that free-fed dogs had a 3 times higher risk of diabetes and significantly more cases of pancreatitis, not because they ate more, but because their bodies never had a break. And here's the kicker: when food is always there, you lose track. Did they eat less today? Are they off their appetite? Are they sick? You won't know until it's serious. Think of feeding time like a conversation. You offer, they respond, you listen. That rhythm tells you how they're feeling if you're paying attention. So switch it up. Scheduled feedings. Twice a day. Put it down. 15 minutes. Then lift it. No guilt. No guessing. Just clarity. Because when food becomes background noise, it stops being fuel. And now that you're in control again, let's tackle one of the most emotional mistakes, those table scraps you think are harmless, but might be a loaded gun. Number 9. Feeding from the table. Just a little bite of steak, a piece of bacon, some leftover chicken skin. It feels harmless. It feels loving. That face staring up at you, those eyes that know exactly when you're most likely to break. And maybe you do, because how could one small piece hurt? But here's the truth. It's not about the piece. It's about what's on it. The garlic powder in the sauce, the onion from the gravy, the salt, the fat, the butter. These things that make our food delicious. They make your dog's body panic. The ASPCA gets over 180,000 calls a year about dogs poisoned by human food. Not just chocolate or grapes, but things most of us don't even think twice about. A lick of peanut butter with xylitol. A piece of rotisserie chicken soaked in seasoning. Even a small bit of stuffing left on the floor can turn toxic. You won't always see the signs right away. The damage can be slow, quiet. A buildup of liver enzymes, stomach upset that looks like anxiety, red blood cells breaking down without a sound. Until one day your dog collapses, and the vet's asking what they ate. I get it. Saying no is hard, especially when they've been your shadow for years. But love isn't giving in. Love is drawing the line. So next time those eyes beg you from under the table, ask yourself, am I feeding them or failing them? And even if the food is perfect, carefully chosen, prepped with care, there's still one moment where everything can go wrong. It's not what you feed. It's how fast they eat it. And what that does is where we're headed next. Number 10. Switching food too fast. It starts with good intentions. Maybe you've finally found a better brand one with cleaner ingredients, or your vet recommended a new formula. You toss the old bag, fill the bowl with something new, and feel proud, like you've taken a step forward. But for your dog's stomach, that sudden change isn't progress. It's a crash. Inside, your dog lives a microscopic army, trillions of gut bacteria trained for one mission: to break down the exact food they've been eating. When you change that food overnight, it's like firing the whole crew and hiring strangers with no map. Chaos unfolds. The result? Vomiting, diarrhea, appetite gone, confusion in their eyes as if asking, "What did I do wrong?" The University of Illinois ran a study and found that 78% of dogs experience digestive distress when food is switched abruptly. Not because the food is bad, but because the bacteria inside weren't given time to adapt. Think of their gut like a small town. You don't replace every shop overnight. You ease in new stores, let the community adjust. Same with food. Day 1, 75%, old 25%, new. Then slowly shift over a week. Rushing doesn't mean caring more. It just means you didn't give their body time to catch up with your heart. So before you change their diet, pause. Plan, transition. And now that you know the 10 biggest mistakes, maybe it's time to look at your routine with new eyes. Because sometimes the smallest change in how we feed becomes the biggest gift in how long they stay. You've seen the mistakes. Maybe you've made a few. We all have. Not out of neglect, but out of love. Because no one hands you a manual when you bring a dog home. You figure it out as you go, learning through tail wags and quiet sighs, through the way they look at you like you're their whole world, because you are. But now you know more. Now you understand that every scoop, every routine, every little thing adds up. And those small decisions, they shape the years ahead. You've served your family. You've served your job. You've stood through storms most people wouldn't understand. And now it's your turn to serve them better, smarter, with intention. Maybe your dog is curled up at your feet right now, breathing slow, trusting you without question. Maybe they're gone, and this is your way of honoring them. Either way, what you do next matters. So here's what I'm asking. Subscribe to this channel, not for the numbers, for the knowledge, for the dog that's waiting by the door, for the one that never left your side. Because every video here is made to give you more tools, more insight, more time. And if this helped you, share it. One video can save a life. One click can change everything. They'd give their whole life for you. The least we can do is make sure that life is long, healthy, and full of love.